purpose through mindset, branding, marketing, sales, systems, and team so they can make an amazing impact and income and positively affect their communities worldwide. Ensure that you are sharing this show, you're subscribing, and you also are leaving us a review so we can create more amazing content around those areas to help you level up to the next level and also bring amazing guest experts that can share their knowledge and expertise with you so that you can create amazing legacy. All right, purpose-driven entrepreneurs and CEOs, welcome back to another show. I'm so excited to be back with you with another beautiful guest and conversation. And we're all very like-minded here as an audience, that we share a common value around self-mastery, how to improve ourselves daily, how to ensure that we are very purposeful in the way that we design our lives, but also our companies as well. So I'm so excited to have with me another beautiful guest, Sherry Fernandez. And we will talk about some of the main principles that she has learned from her experience that I think will really give you some really great insight, not only in the inspirational side of how to master your life, but also in the practical side of things, because I know we're all very busy CEOs and entrepreneurs, and we're always looking for those things that we can implement as habits. So Sherry, welcome. I'm so excited to have you as part of our show and looking forward to another beautiful conversation with you.
Thanks, Elona. I'm very excited to be here and excited to meet you. It's been fun to talk to you so far. And I'm looking forward to the interview.
The pleasure is all mine. So Sherry, let's start with a little introduction, or a few of the most meaningful moments, I should say, that led you to the work you're doing today, because we're always about journey here. Life is a journey. Business growth is a journey. So I'm sure that everything that happens to us, everything happens for a reason. So if you could share some of those meaningful moments that led you to the work you're doing today, I think that will help the audience get some insight on who Sherry actually is and why you've chosen to do the work you're doing today.
I think two turning points, one specific and one a little was more of a journey. The first one was I started off with not anything, and my husband and I both was just so broke and so poor, but I wanted a lot of things, and I figured if anybody could do it, I could do it. I just needed to figure out how. And I went to work figuring how to do that, working on myself. Like you said, it's really about who you're becoming. And working on myself, my husband did the same too. We were on the same page. We didn't even know it when we got married, that we were both going to do that. And so that decision, when I said, I want things. I want a great marriage. I want a rocking body and still have my kids. I want money, because I didn't know I needed money, but I didn't want to worry about money anymore. I was tired of that. And I just said, if anybody can do it, I can do it. And I went to town, learning and working on me and developing some disciplines. I was very indisciplined, and now it's probably one of my hallmarks is self-discipline and just applying the principles. So that was just a turning point. Then over time, as I began to realize how it really worked and the benefit of life mastery, I began being asked to speak and teach on the things. People were seeing the changes in me, and they were asking me to teach the principles. And as I did that, it solidified. The more I taught, the more I understood, as that's how it works, right? And so that was sort of a journey, and that moved from speaking and teaching to one-on-one coaching, and still speaking and teaching, and then writing Life Mastery. Writing Life Mastery was a turning point too, because I never planned to write a book. I've been asked so many times, and I was like, I am not a writer. But then one day it was like, I guess turns out I'm a pretty good writer, as it turns out. Yeah. I never planned to do it. That was a turning point for sure. It's like a one-day thing. Like I wasn't going to, and the next day I was suggested, and I just said, okay, I will.
I love that. And I'd like to kind of stop on a few points that you shared there, Sherry, because I see such a commonality between myself, my personal journey, but also a lot of listeners on our show. It's that life experience that we go through, that we kind of overcome ourselves. And I love that you actually talked about all the other areas of your life, because I think we all do that, right? We want financial health, we want a successful company, we want a good relationship, we want to be good parents, like all these other things that surround us sometimes. And really being intentional with all those areas is really important. So I love that you kind of have that approach, a very, more of an organized approach to kind of all the rest of the areas of your life, and how you actually were able to dissect those down to the book and principles that you speak now and teach others on. And also, I'm sure, I know I can so relate to your book writing, because I also never saw that as part of my path. But I spoke my first couple of books, and then I got really good at writing. Just like anything, you just never know until we actually do it, right? So, and it becomes one of those legacy products that people get to read, and you get to impact people in such a different way with that, for sure. So Sherry, let's dive into some of those principles that you have covered in the book. If you can maybe dissect them into, I don't know, 10 principles or 5 principles based on your chapters. What are some of those things that we need to, or at least you learned, that you'd like to share with us around some of the principles to how to make our life a masterpiece?
Most of my clients are, and I don't think it's coincidentally, are entrepreneurs themselves. And I think there's a number of reasons for that. And that's, um, it's easy to get out of balance when you're so driven to make this one thing happen. And we have businesses, that's been our thing too. We have multiple businesses, and we did a pretty good job, I think, because of this big family. I have 6 kids, and we had this big family, and we had other interests as well. So I'm a firm believer that it's not success unless you're working on you, your marriage, your relationship with your children, your friends. If you're not working on your health, if you're not educating yourself as you go along, if you don't have a rich spiritual life, success. We always think about success as just this one area, like money or business, but it's not success if you lose something else along the way, if you lose your integrity along the way. So one of the first principles that I teach, and I won't work with anybody that doesn't see it that way, you have to work on all the things, all that. And I have 8 areas in the book that I talk about, like the physical, spiritual, relationships, money, vocation, education, lifestyle, things like that. So that's one, I think, really important principle. Another really important principle, and I teach it's probably the centerpiece of the Life Mastery program, is systems for implementing goals. It's really more important to have a system than it is to have the goal. So many times we laugh about people who have New Year's resolutions, or they set goals, and I just thought, oh, I set this goal, I never make it. The problem is not the goal setting, and goal setting almost is a byproduct if you have good systems. So one of the main things that I teach is tracking your goals, tracking your daily habits, tracking your goals, the things that you want to have happen that lead you to the big, hairy, audacious dreams, goals, as Jim Collins coins it. The things that are going to lead you to the really big things are just going to be the little things every day. So you have to track those. You have to plan them, track them. Only about 3% of people plan their life. And a planned life starts with a planned day. If you're not planning your days, you're not planning your life. And if you're not, part of your day planning is planning your how to work on you. You're only going to get temporary success, and it won't be in all those areas. So those are a couple of principles. I guess one other principle I'd like to just comment on is also this one, is that we all know what it feels like, that the unhappiness comes from backsliding or feeling stuck. But we all want to be happy, and happiness comes from moving forward. It's such a simple concept. When we work on ourselves and we're taking little steps forward, life mastery, mastering ourselves, just little steps. It doesn't have like great big leaps, because there are no great big leaps. Just taking little steps forward every day. That's how you be happy. That's the cure to some of the malaise that we find ourselves in, and the unhappiness from feeling stuck.
Good stuff. I love it. Oh my gosh. Only 3% of people plan their life by design. I guess 97% of us are just living by default.
Just living by default, just letting life happen to us. Yeah.
That's alarming. Okay. So, I mean, amazing, amazing work. And I love that you mentioned the word system. I use it so much with company building, but unless we have a system in our lives as well. And I know it's not the sexiest word out there in the market with the system, right? But I think everything is a system myself. It's a process, right? Even our habits are a system and processes that we repeat over and over and over. And, we can be repeating unconscious habits that don't serve us, or conscious ones if we decide and really be intentional about what we're trying to create in life. I love that. So Sherry, with as far as, oh my gosh, you just also reminded me, I just had another conversation with a client around the growth of the business. She went in the business with her husband, and now they're having so much conflict in the marriage because a lot of the stressors from the business, unfortunately, do go into those relationships, right? So I love that you talked about what are we giving up? I mean, we have to understand and consciously get the support we're looking for, because we're focusing and we have so much commitment in our companies and the growth of our businesses. Sometimes the cost might be that we need to take a look at all these other fires that usually happen, or even just red flags in looking, into looking in those areas, so that we can make that growth and improvement and design our life on purpose with that as well. Sherry, if you can share with me some of the systems part, right? So how do we start to get clarity on what we're trying to build, and how do we now focus more on purpose, kind of remove a lot of distractions that come our way in the life by default principle that we talked about? What are some of those things that we could start to design our life intentionally and move away from the default?
So what you said some really good things in there about intention and about entrepreneurs, and we have this idea that to be an entrepreneur, to be a business leader, it has to be all consuming, and it's not so. It's just another way of being out of control, and to a large degree. Let's take a look at our whole life and say, okay, all right, what am I doing for my health every day? What am I doing for my spirituality every day? What am I doing for my relationships every day? And make sure those things are all balanced. It's not time given away that could be used on our business. It's making us more focused, more dedicated. And if you win the day in your business and you lose your marriage, that's not a win, right? Or you lose your integrity. So we have to find ways to keep everything in balance. One thing is to get over the myth that we have to work 24/7 or even 16-hour days or any of that. That's not so. We've had a number of businesses, and we had also a family life. My husband came home at the end of the day, and we had a family life. At 6 o'clock, he was home, and we built a beautiful business, and very successful, and other businesses as well. So that one of the skills I teach, first thing I teach with clients, is how to track your habits, your daily habits. So and it's a simple little tracking sheet that I use. It's like a little calendar. It's almost like a children's job chart. That's where I got the idea originally, because I needed some way to hold myself accountable. So you decide what you want to do every day. Okay, I'm going to need to work out every day. I need to make sure that I spend some time in meditation, prayer, whatever it is. I need to make sure that I'm reading every day, particularly in my field. If you want to be a leader in your field, you need to educate yourself every day, or you're going to get left behind, right? So I know I need to do these things. So I put them on my tracking sheet. And this sounds so simplistic, but it works. People, CEOs, and people of all levels of society that I have worked with do this, and that once you do it, you will just be addicted to they'll do it for forever. But you have this tracking sheet, and you write them down with a pencil or pen on paper, the things that you want to do, and then every day, and that you plan to do, and then you check them off as you do them, and you get a check. And if you don't do them, you get a blank spot. There, you get this. There's this empty box. And that's all just so there's so much accountability, but also remind you. So you do that with part of your day planning. So, and in the morning, personal development time for everybody. Like, I don't care what you do, whether you're a mom or you're a CEO or whatever you are. That morning time, you have to have morning time for personal development, to sharpen the saws, as Stephen Covey would say, but to work on you in the morning. So there's a couple of thoughts. There's some other skills I teach too, like written affirmations, but that tracking thing is the biggest one right there.
Yeah, I love that, because it's such a visual for a lot of people as well, because there's so much that happens that sometimes we even can get lost and lose a sense of our purpose of what we're trying to accomplish. But I love that it keeps you focused on those very high level intentional actions that are going to move us forward, in bigger leaps, with the progress that we're trying to make, such as reading, right? Making time for those activities that, most of the times it's like, I wish I could get time to read, right? But if you're intentional about it, you can figure out how to get time for all those important priorities and activities that are going to move you forward, further in your field or in your chosen goal, or whatever your focus is for that time being. I love it. And Sherry, I would love to get your insight around some advice in the way that you build your successful company, or even you mentioned that you've been part of building other companies with your husband, that you could share with our entrepreneurs that might be helpful to them as they're growing their companies, and they want to ensure that they are successful and their companies are profitable, but again, of course, without sacrificing all these other areas of their lives. So what is some advice that you can give based on your experience?
That's a good question. Every once in a while, somebody will want to just pick my brain. There's somebody young who can't really afford coaching. Can I buy you lunch? And there's always that's usually the question: how can I get ahead in my field? And so what I tell them is this: you work on you. You spend a little bit of time working on you every day. So I know it's the same drum I keep beating, but read in your field every day. You know what? I don't care whether you're a lawyer or you're a doctor or you're an entrepreneur or you're a salesman. 90%, more than 90%, well, probably 97% of people don't spend time every day educating themselves on what they're doing. And so consequently, those who do are leaders in their field really quick. I know doctors who are still, I've known doctors who are still teaching things that I know that are out of date and they don't even know it because they're not staying up current in their field. And that's true across the board. So I'd say the number one thing is to educate yourself in your field.
Absolutely. Yeah, I so agree with that because we're moving so fast. I mean, things are moving so fast. So we need to be ensure that we have that continuous improvement, just continuous improvement. It might sound
Mhm.
like, oh my gosh, we got to catch up and that anxiety kicks in. But no, every day, you masterify what you're doing and you're up to date and relatable with all the things that are happening. A beautiful, beautiful advice. Well, Sherry, thank you so much for everything that you have shared with us. I really enjoyed our conversation. So much nuggets and wisdom that you shared with us. I'd love to kind of get a final message from you. I know you shared so many beautiful things here today. And also, where is it that the audience can continue the conversation with you or find out more information around the book that you have out there?
My one last little thought, and it still seems like the same thing over and over, but isn't exactly the same thing, is if you want to change the world, or you want to change a relationship, or you want something to improve, whatever it is you want to have happen, it always goes back to working on you. We do have to work on ourselves. When we become, the law of attraction is that we become something that the things we want will be attracted to. And we still have to apply the principles towards them. But the law of attraction is I become somebody that things are pulled to and drawn to because of the work I do on me. So that's my last thought. And then you can find me at lifemasteryinfo.com. That's our website. I'm Sherry, Sherry, at Life Mastery Info, and I reply to all my own emails, so you can email me there. Also, my book, Life Mastery, Personal Progression Towards an Infinite Future, or Infinite Potential, I'm sorry, is on Amazon and on Audible as well.
All right, beautiful. Well, there you go. I mean, definitely go follow Sherry and continue the conversation because one of our very important values here is nurturing relationships. So that is the great way to get to know one another better and also see what valuable insight you can add to each other's worlds. As I say, whether you are listening or whether you are a guest on our show. So again, thank you so much, Sherry, for everything you shared. You'll find our podcast. Please subscribe so that we bring on more beautiful guests just like
Sure, I
Sherry
will, for
on our
sure.
all our social media and also all major podcast platforms. Thank you again for your time, and I will see you next time with another guest, another beautiful show. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
I am offering a free 30-minute discovery strategy business growth call for you in order to help you discover the foundational gaps that you might have between your book publishing, branding, marketing, sales, systems, and team so that you can make more impact and income in your business this year. Even if you decide not to receive the further support that I could provide for you, you will still walk away with amazing wisdom and value from my 20-year experience in helping entrepreneurs and growing my own successful business in what are some of the gaps that you are experiencing and how to connect those gaps with your ultimate business and life vision. Schedule a call now as my calendar gets booked very fast so that you could take advantage of this 30-minute opportunity to have a personalized chat together.